Crucial, and welcome back to another Premier League predictions show. We're now up to game week 16. Some really interesting matches this coming weekend. We've got the Manchester Derby taking place at the Etihad between Manchester City and Man United in London. We've got Chelsea coming up against Brentford, so that should be a goal fest. And interestingly, we've got a massive clash at the bottom of the table. We've got Wolves coming up against Ipswich. But enough of that waffle, let's just crack on and make our predictions.
So starting off, and we rarely say this, at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, get in. Arsenal up against Everton. Now Arsenal in a pretty fairly decent run of form. Fulham absolutely took them to the sword mines, didn't they? Being able to grind out a 1-1 draw, and they've been fairly okay in the past month, haven't they? Meanwhile for Everton, Merseyside derby was of course postponed because of the storm, and then prior to that 4-0 against Wolves, wasn't it? And just patchy before then, so I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game in this one, considering how Arsenal have been. Yeah, I'm going to go just a narrow 1-0, I think, to the Gunners.
Yeah, Arsenal, I think they're in Champions League action on Wednesday evening, I believe. Coming up against an Everton side, okay, they'll be well rested, didn't play in that Merseyside derby, of course, because of the weather. Arsenal, massive issues at the back. I think they've got some like 4 or 5 defenders out. Tomiyasu, Ben White, Gabriel, Calafiori and Zinchenko all missing from that back line, but I still expect them to beat Everton, especially at home. They didn't look great against Fulham, and Fulham a bit unlucky to win that one, but I am going to go for a 2-0 home win to Arsenal on Saturday. Next up, also at 3 o'clock, got Liverpool coming up against Fulham. At the current time of recording, Liverpool are 1-0 up away against Girona in the Champions League. Liverpool, McAllister is going to be missing from this fixture, and for Fulham, I think it's Tom McKennie, who's also out suspended. Liverpool, from their 7 matches that they've played at Anfield in the league this season, 5 times they've scored 2 goals. On another occasion they've scored 3, and the other occasion I think it was a defeat against Nottingham Forest 1-0. So for me this is going to end up with Liverpool scoring 2 goals again. Don't think they'll concede, so I'm going to go for a 2-0 home victory to the Reds.
Yeah, I've been fairly impressed by Fulham recently, so they're going to give Liverpool a good game. But at the end of the day, Anfield in the mythical atmosphere, as you could say, and it is a myth, we know it as fact. I'm going to go 2-1 to Liverpool for this, just narrowly edging it. But aside from that, moving on, Newcastle, who have been fairly inconsistent as of late.
12.
Yeah, down to 12, no wins in their last 4 matches, coming up against Ruvan Nistelrooy's Leicester, who they look a completely different team. We were watching Leicester against West Ham in the pub. Really, really impressed with the way that Leicester conducted themselves, especially in that second half as well. So they're going to start to build up some momentum. However, just looking at the 2 squads, I do kind of edge it to Newcastle at the moment. They have been up and down, but they desperately need to get something on the board, and it being at St James's Park, they're being saved by that full stop. So let's just go narrow 1-0.
1-0, is that all? Well, both of these sides, they've scored a hatful of goals recently. Well, Newcastle have scored 7 goals in their last 2 fixtures, even though they haven't won either of those ones. They got a draw and lost. And Leicester City, last time out was 2-2. Desmond's getting a draw against Brighton right at the death. Jamie Vardy popping up again and again with those goals. So I think there will be at least 4 goals in this one. And I'm going to go for a Newcastle 3-1 home win. Isaac's getting amongst the goals as well. Anthony Gordon didn't start last week, so I fully expect him to start this fixture as well. So 3-1 to the Geordies for me. Next up, we've got that massive clash at the bottom of the table. Both of these sides are 9 points. We've got Wolverhampton Wanderers coming up against Ipswich. Ipswich, prior to these 3 defeats on the bounce, they're really giving their opponents a real difficult time, even though in those defeats as well, it's only been by the solitary goal. Wolves so leaky at the back, conceding 38 goals, and apparently any team I think it may even be the history of the Premier League who've conceded 38 goals after 15 matches have actually been relegated, so it doesn't look good for Wolves. If I'm wrong on that stat, then correct me in the comments section, guys. But in this one, Wolves at home, Gary O'Neill possibly holding on with his fingertips now. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw
Yeah, the thing you got to remember with Wolves as well, I know they're really leaky at the back, but on the other end with the likes of Cunha, Strand Larsen, who's been very good this season.
Cunha hasn't scored in the last few matches though.
He hasn't. They've only got a few less goals than Manchester City. They've got more goals than Nottingham Forest, and they've got the same amount of goals as Aston Villa. All of them are 4th, 5th and 6th.
Yeah,
so
it's that defence.
at the end of the day, it's defence wins you games, doesn't it? But Ipswich,
And
they
goals.
have... What's that?
And goals.
And goals, yeah. But Ipswich, at the end of the day, they don't look too bad. That's the thing, and they've had some tricky ones as well. Forest, look at the position they're in at the moment. I know they have been a bit patchy. Then they also play Bournemouth, who can give it a really good go on their day as well. And then Palace, in that relegation fight, they could have easily scraped a draw in it. So I'm going to go for something bizarre. I'm going to go for a last-minute smash and grab to Ipswich, 1-0.
Wow.
Anyway, moving on, 5:30 on Sky, Nottingham Forest up against Aston Villa, 5th against 6th. This one could go either way. Villa need to... I can't even believe that we're saying this, but both of these sides need to put the pressure on Manchester City at the moment to climb into the Champions League places. Of course, both of them former Champions League winners as well. To be honest, I'm going to say whoever's playing at home for this one's going to win. I'm going to give it to Forest 2-1.
2-1. Yeah, I'm going to go for Nottingham Forest as well. Aston Villa are in midweek action in the Champions League. And I don't think they've done too well just before, and well, they won last week, didn't they? Or just after they've come back from Champions League action. Nottingham Forest, decent at home, 5th position. An excellent win against Manchester United, 3-2 last weekend. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory to Forest in this one. Next up, we've got the first of the Sunday matches. We've got Brighton against Crystal Palace. That fake derby. Big rivalry though. Brighton currently in 7th position. Just the one defeat in their last 6 matches. Throwing away that 2-0 lead against Leicester last time out. Crystal Palace, they're a lot more resolute now. It's just the one defeat in their last 7 matches or 6 matches. But they're not losing, are they? Can they turn all those draws into wins? I don't think they'll do it this weekend. Brighton, probably is going to be a real good atmosphere at the Amex, so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, this is like the weirdest derby in the 92, isn't it? At the end of the day, Brighton, look at the position they're in, look at the football they're playing under Hurtzler, take out the last couple of games. Palace are shoring up, but unfortunately at the end of the day, it's just playing Brighton at the wrong time for me, especially when you're going away to them as well. But I don't know, something's just screaming to me that it's going to be 2-0 Brighton, and I'm going to go for it. Moving on to another derby. This one makes a bit more sense. Manchester City against Man United, 4:30 on Sky. Now Man City's starting to crawl back into form, battering Forest 3-0. And then what happens against Crystal Palace in that one? So, yeah, I mean, getting points on the board, but doesn't defeat the fact that they've been absolutely shocking at the end of the day. Whereas Man United, just completely inconsistent. Amorim, he hasn't had the greatest of starts, as he hadn't had. There's not really been a new manager bounce there. They've also parted company with Dan Ashworth as well, their technical director, so a lot's going on there at the moment, isn't it? Both teams in issues, but at the end of the day, the away team always seems to do better in the Manchester derby, so I reckon it's going to be a cancel-out job, 1-1.
1-1, so you're still not back in Man United then?
Nope.
Fantastic. But prior to this, I just looked at this fixture and it's Manchester City win. However, looking at Manchester City's injury list, the likes of Foden and the defensive issues there, obviously Rodri, got Rico Lewis who's really versatile. He's suspended. Manchester United, they're going to have to be well up for this one, especially as they're only in 13th position at the moment. Both in European action this week. Man City will have an extra day's rest, so it's at home Man City, but look at their injuries and suspensions, etc. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw as well, Nathan. And then Sunday night, 7 o'clock on a Sunday night. This is ridiculous. We've got Chelsea against Brentford.
Well, at least it's they're within like half an hour of each other, isn't it?
Yeah, you know? Both West End teams. Chelsea full of goals, Brentford full of goals as well. I think this is going to be a goal fest. Nicholas Jackson will want to get back to scoring ways after he blanked last week. Cole Palmer, though, couple of penalties with a Panenka in that last fixture. And
filth.
I think there's something like 12 penalties on the bounce where he's got the record without missing. So excellent from young Palmer there. Brentford as well. Last week, I think everybody was looking to Newcastle to take all 3 points, but Brentford scoring 4 goals to Newcastle's 2. So in this one, I'm going to go for another 4-2 scoreline, but I'm going to go for Chelsea 4, Brentford 2.
Interesting. I agree it's going to be a goal fest, but I think it's going to be one less for each team. So I'm going to go 3-1 to Chelsea. Cole Palmer just in ridiculous form. Nicholas Jackson's in ridiculous, decent form as well. Madueke, fantastic. Brentford on the other end. Shea's been doing very well, especially if you're in fantasy football. Visser, he's amazing. And Buemo's been doing fantastic.
Well, only last week he got his goal and an assist. Yeah, prior to that, I think he'd only had 1 shot in the last 4 matches, apparently.
But yeah, he's starting to deliver the bacon now. So at the end of the day, Chelsea are just too strong for me at the moment. So yeah, 3-1. Anyway, moving on to another 7 o'clock one on Sunday. Absolutely shocking, and this one is shocking. Southampton up against Spurs, where they're travelling on Sunday night. Just ridiculous. At the end of the day, Spurs, as we always say, they could be Spursy again in this one. Bit of pressure on Postecoglou, losing against Bournemouth and also getting absolutely battered in the end by Chelsea. But it's Southampton, isn't it? Come on, 2-0.
2-0 to Spurs.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was thinking for a Spurs victory, but then I looked into their injuries and suspensions, Nathan. And take note of this, everybody. Vicario, ankle injury. Richarlison, out. Bentancur and Bissouma, both in midfield, suspended. Brendan Johnson, currently ill. Not sure if he's going to be available this weekend. Van de Ven has picked up another injury. Could be back for the weekend, but only 50-50. Mickey Moore, illness. Ben Davis, as well, who's been covering in defence. He's ruled out. Wilson Odobert, ruled out. Christian Romero, also ruled out. So their treatment room is really piling up. So I'm actually going to go for a victory to the Saints on the South Coast.
Wow. Under
the lights. And this will be the second victory of the season, according to my predictions. So 1-0 to the Saints for me over Tottenham. And the final fixture of this game week is on Monday evening, where we've got Bournemouth coming up against West Ham. Now, West Ham had a late victory on Monday night this week against Wolves, and they really needed those 3 points because they were
that was Alsacia, wasn't it?
Yeah, Alsacia they were calling it, and they were in danger of being sucked into that relegation scrap. You know, they're not out of it yet, but that'll give them a bit of confidence. However, they're coming up against a Bournemouth side now who've won 3 on the bounce against Wolves, Tottenham and Ipswich, and I think Bournemouth will just sneak this one. It'll be a very entertaining match. Thoughts with Antonio as well, who's currently in hospital. Hopefully he gets well soon. We'll see him back on the pitch again. But I think Bournemouth, with the pace they've got, I think West Ham away from home, not great. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Bournemouth.
Yeah, for me, looking at the way, just watching Bournemouth recently, they're absolutely flying at the moment, especially under Areola's football. So yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 to the Cherries.
So there we have it, guys. Those are our predictions for game week 16. Make sure you leave your predictions over at the Superbru website or in the comment section below, because we read each and every comment. Nathan, time recording early this week, Tuesday evening. We're going to a championship match on Wednesday evening, Cardiff City versus Preston.
Snooze.
Will there be a vlog out for your viewers and your fans?
Yeah, probably be out Thursday night, so channel link in the description below.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining me once again on this Tuesday evening, Nathan. Remember to leave your predictions over the Superbru website, and we'll see you all in the next video.
Hey, I got something to say. I'm just so sick of hearing everyone complain. I know it's tough and I know there's pain, but hitting bottom is the only way to change.